What's going on, guys? I'm pretty excited to make this video. We finally have our first bit of NHL 21 news. Basically, the stockholders meeting or whatever, EA released their upcoming titles for the 2021 fiscal year. Now that starts in April 2020, goes till April 2021. On the list, of course, is NHL 21, along with FIFA, Madden, Burnout, Command & Conquer Remastered, which actually I'm pretty pumped for. So this, of course, confirms NHL 21 in case anyone thought it wasn't going to happen. The big news here, actually, is that it's coming out in Q3 opposed to Q2. So like I mentioned already, fiscal year starts in April, so Q1 is April, May, and June. It's 4 quarters, so each is 3 months. Q2 is July, August, September. So FIFA and Madden, obviously Madden always comes out mid to late August. NHL beginning of September, and then FIFA mid to late September. So NHL is usually in between those two. This time, though, it's actually coming out in Q3. So that's going to be somewhere between October and December. So obviously a big change there. If it's beginning of October, not too big of a change. If it's December near Christmas time, obviously a huge change. Now, at the bottom there in the text, you can see it actually says titles are reflected in alphabetical order and launch times are subject to change. So my best guess here is that EA is thinking NHL is going to start later this year and they want to kind of release NHL 21 alongside the start of the new NHL season. So if the new NHL season doesn't start till, say, November, maybe they release NHL 21 in November. And I feel like no matter what, they're probably going to release it at latest beginning of November just because they're going to want those Black Friday sales at the end of November, but still a pretty big difference from like the second Tuesday of September or whatever it is it always comes out on. Honestly, wouldn't be too concerned with a later release, especially if it gives them more time to make the game better. You know, a lot of times we always get patches within the first month or two. Now all those issues should hopefully be worked out at launch and we'll just get a more polished game. My biggest concern would be whether or not we only get this game for 10 months. If NHL 2022 comes out at its normal time, September, I would feel like, you know, that would kind of suck, basically. As you're already paying for a yearly game, which means you're only getting 12 months. Now with NHL 21 coming out a bit later, you're only going to get, say, 10 months. You're losing a couple months there. Is it the end of the world? Not really, but I do think that's a bit of concern. So maybe if it comes out in November, they would then push 2022 to October, so it's like 11 months. And if it comes out in October, then you're only losing 1 month anyway, so it's probably fine. I'm very, curious to see if that does happen, what all happens there. Also, it would affect, too, I think, the timing of HUT stuff, because is Team of the Year going to come out in January, like 2 months into HUT, when people are still having like 85 teams, all of a sudden you have 99 cards, opposed to that gradual progression up to the higher rated cards. Again, there's tons of kind of different things to break down here, but I guess we'll just have to wait and see, the official release date once that's announced. Another thing actually with this, guys, when you look at the old release dates, like I was mentioning, you'll see NHL with FIFA and Madden, but this one actually has the platforms. You can see they all are on console and PC, except for NHL 20. Now, the new one doesn't have platforms, so we have no idea, but I assume NHL 21 will probably not be on PC. NHL hasn't been on PC since like 09, I think. And I feel like the big concern with NHL being on PC, above all else, is simply breaking up the community even more. It's the smallest of the 3 games, NHL, FIFA, and Madden. You already have it split in half on PS4 and Xbox. You add PC, you now have like a third of the user base on each system. It's going to be a lot tougher to find games and stuff, especially when you have some people playing HUT, some playing ESHL, ones, club, drop-ins, whatever. So obviously we have no idea, but my best guess would be no PC. Unless, of course, we hear FIFA 21's crossplay. In that case, maybe they'll bring crossplay to NHL, which would actually be pretty awesome, in which case I would love for there to be PC. But if there's no crossplay, then I think sticking to consoles makes the most sense. Now, speaking of consoles, guys, obviously a big question which people have is whether or not NHL 21 will be on the next generation of consoles, PS5 and Xbox Series X. And GameSpot actually released an article confirming NHL 21 on next gen. As you can see here, it says PS5 and Xbox Series X get more confirmed games EA Sports titles, Madden, FIFA, NHL 21. In the second paragraph here, you can see it says EA confirmed it's releasing FIFA, Madden, and NHL 21 on PS5 and Xbox Series X. Now, if you click that confirmed link, it'll bring you to like this EA fiscal year, write-up thing. I don't know exactly what to call it. And then if you go down to like the paragraph that they're citing basically for the confirmation, it doesn't actually confirm this. If you read the paragraph they refer to, you'll see it says we are planning to launch 14 new titles to players this fiscal year. That includes 4 new EA Sports titles, FIFA, Madden, NHL, and the unannounced sports game, all of which deliver on the mix of creativity, authenticity, whatever. EA Sports will also lead for us on the next generation consoles this year, and we're excited to share more about the breakthrough experiences soon. So basically, it says EA Sports will lead on next-gen consoles, but it doesn't say which EA Sports titles. You guys remember back with Xbox One and PS4, both FIFA and Madden had next-gen releases along with current-gen releases, but NHL 14 only came on the 360. It wasn't until NHL 15 a year later we got that next-gen title. So I'm still not entirely convinced. So I feel like GameSpot's assuming a little bit too much here, and you know what they say about making assumptions. And honestly, in my opinion, I wouldn't mind if NHL, takes the year off before going to next-gen, because as I already mentioned with going to PC, PC. Going to next gen would just split the player base up even more. Instead of having 3 with like Xbox, PlayStation, PC, you'd have Xbox One, Xbox Series X, PS5, PS4. So now, you know, the player base is split into quarters as opposed to when it's normally split into halves. Like, that would not be good at all, unless of course Xbox One players can play with Xbox Series X players. I have no idea about that. Then it, you know, wouldn't be too big a deal. But also, if you just look at history, NHL 15, like, they waited a year to go to next gen, and we all know how that turned out. So if they were to then rush this one out, not even wait the year, like, how bad would 21 be? So honestly, I feel like, and I'm hoping that, you know, they don't rush this just to get on a next gen, especially since a lot of people don't even have like the new console as soon as it comes out anyways, and I really don't want to see a repeat of NHL 15. So I hope they at least wait the year to get a more polished game than what 15 was. Obviously, no EASHL, franchise was bare bones. We don't want to see that again. So I think it's better to have like a full polished game than a game on next gen. Obviously, 15 graphics were sick. Saw a quick clip of Madden 21. Graphics look pretty good, but again, I prefer a, you know, more full game than a smaller game on next gen. And now the last thing I actually wanted to touch on, guys, isn't mentioned at all in this article or whatever, but just because we're talking about NHL 21, wanted to kind of mention my cover predictions. As I've seen some pretty sick custom covers floating around out there, I feel like everyone kind of has the same idea about who they think it's going to be. My top 3 are probably Pastrnak, MacKinnon, and Draisaitl, I want to say. And obviously that thumbnail had a pretty sick Pastrnak cover. Seen a couple of good MacKinnon ones as well. Draisaitl, obviously leading scorer right now. German, maybe that helped like the European audience or whatever. I think Panarin might have a shot too, just because he plays for the Rangers. Huge market, and you know, obviously having a career year. And one guy people bring up every year is Crosby, but I feel like if Crosby wanted to be on the cover, he would have been on the cover already. Like, you know, he's been the face of the league for the last, I don't know, 15 years. So I feel like that's probably never going to happen at this point, kind of like Peyton Manning with the Madden games. Now, if I had to make my pick for the NHL 21 cover prediction, I feel like it's got to be some with some style, some flair. That's definitely what they've gone for the last couple years. Obviously, Matthews all into the GQ stuff. You know, he's got a pretty big following outside just the game, his Instagram, similar to PK Subban the year before. So I'm thinking, you know, Pastrnak definitely fills that. Panarin even to some extent. MacKinnon a little bit too. Draisaitl not so much. Then I feel like, I don't know, between those 3 guys, who are like the biggest faces? Probably MacKinnon and Pastrnak. It's so tough for me though. It's going to be one of those 2. Out of the covers I've seen, the Pastrnak cover is definitely the nicest, but if I had to pick a guy, I'm thinking I'm probably going to go with MacKinnon. Simply because he has emerged as one of the top players in the game, right alongside McDavid, Crosby. So one of those guys is already on the cover. One of those guys probably will never be on the cover. Just makes sense, I guess, for MacKinnon to be the next one. But we'd love to hear your guys' predictions in the comments below, as well as what you think about NHL 21 potentially being released later, as well as potentially being on next gen. Just curious to see what you guys think about all that. Hopefully you enjoyed this video. If you did, I'll leave that thumbs up. Haven't subscribed yet, please do that. And thank you guys as always for watching. Have a nice day. Goodbye.